Today, we're diving into an absolutely fascinating story. It's about a king, a really shocking vow, and a brilliant plan to completely transform a kingdom without shedding a single drop of blood. Okay, let's just jump right into the most dramatic moment. Picture this. A brand new king is standing in front of his entire court, and he makes this terrifying announcement. A sacrifice of 1,000 people. You can just imagine the shock, the fear in that room. But listen closely to the words he uses. He doesn't ask for rebels or criminals. He wants foolish people. So that one strange word immediately raises a huge question, right? Who are the foolish? Is he talking about people who aren't very smart? Or is it something else entirely? The answer to this is the key to his entire masterful plan.
To really get why he would make such a radical decree, we've got to go back in time. Back to when he was still just a prince in the kingdom of Varanasi. This is where the seeds for this incredible plan were first planted.
You see, as a young prince, he looked around and saw a society that was completely built on this tradition of animal sacrifice. The people believed that a powerful deity lived inside this giant banyan tree, and if they offered it blood, they'd be rewarded with things like wealth, kids, and good fortune.
And this gives you an idea of the sheer scale of the killing that just deeply bothered the young prince. This wasn't some rare, once-a-year thing. No, it was a constant, widespread practice. Just countless animals being killed, all in the hope of getting on a god's good side.
So here's where we see the big problem. The prince, who was a bodhisattva, someone on the path to becoming enlightened, he saw a huge moral issue. But his people, they just saw tradition and devotion. Where he saw suffering and a terrible wrong, they saw a way to a better life.
Now, he was smart. He knew he couldn't just march in and ban the practice. That belief was way too strong, too deep. If he tried to fight it head-on, people would just push back. So instead, he came up with this incredibly patient, long-term plan.
And this is where you can really see his genius. He didn't try to fight the current, he just swam with it. He started publicly pretending to worship the tree himself, but only with harmless things like flowers and scented water. By doing this, he slowly, patiently earned the people's trust. He was playing the long game.
So, years go by. His father passes away, and our prince finally becomes king. He's got the people's trust now, and he is finally ready to spring his plan into action.
He gets all his ministers together and basically says, hey, the reason I'm king, it's all thanks to that deity in the tree. He plays right into their existing beliefs, saying he made a promise to the deity that he now has to fulfill. He had set the perfect trap, and nobody had a clue.
And here it is, the brilliant twist. When the king said he needed 1,000 foolish people, he wasn't talking about their IQs. Not at all. He totally redefined the word. To him, a thaumateya, a foolish person, was anyone who actively chose to live an immoral life. And he was super specific about it. The foolish, he said, were people who kill or steal or lie, anyone who engages in these unwholesome actions that just cause suffering for themselves and others. His targets weren't the simple-minded, they were the morally corrupt. So then, he orders his messengers to spread this terrifying news to every single corner of the kingdom. Can you imagine hearing that? The message was loud and clear. If you are an immoral person, the king is coming for you, and you're going to be part of his sacrifice. So, what happens next? Does the kingdom descend into chaos? Do people start hunting each other down? Well, what actually happened was something nobody could have ever predicted.
The result was absolutely astonishing. The total number of people they found to sacrifice was 0. Not a single one. The fear of being labeled foolish was so powerful that it sparked this immediate society-wide transformation. I mean, overnight, people stopped their bad habits. They started to embrace honesty, compassion, and just being good to each other. The king, through this unbelievable trick, managed to get rid of widespread immorality and the tradition of animal sacrifice, all without harming a single person. It was a bloodless revolution.
You know, this ancient story offers such a powerful lesson about leadership and making things better, and it's just as relevant for us today.
What this all boils down to is that the king didn't use force. He didn't condemn people. Instead, he used a deep understanding of human nature. He created this compassionate strategy that simply made living a good life the most attractive and, frankly, the safest choice you could make.
And that really leaves us with a big question to think about, doesn't it? In our own lives, in our families, in our communities, how can we use this same kind of cleverness and compassion to encourage goodness and create real change without resorting to conflict and division?
Thanks so much for joining us for this explainer. And on that final, thoughtful note, we really do hope for this for you. May you all be blessed with happiness.